we're cycling on a car lane, and now it's a field experiment. And this is like the old-fashioned cycle path. And especially on the other side, there used to be like no infrastructure at all, and now it's easy to go there by bike. And you see also the separation, the safety zone in between the cars and the cycle lane. Yeah. So that's also important, like to have a buffer or the safety zone in between. So if you are cycling here with your children or with kids, yeah, and they like just going in circles or they're not so safe on their bicycle, still if they do a little mistake, it's not fatal or they don't have an accident easily.
And more importantly to the pilot experiment here is that you're proving that you can, do this. Yeah. All that traffic queue cleared out, it's gone.
Yeah. So there's still traffic flow.
Yeah.
There is there's no traffic jam at all. I mean, it's also the time of the day now. Yeah. It's not a rush hour, but still there used to be traffic jams before, and still there are traffic jams, but it's not like a catastrophe or a disaster when you compare this how it was before. It looked like before. So
and you can see we're coming up on 2:30 about, and we can see lots of kids getting off of school. Yeah. So all the more reason for this to be a safer environment, a safer street.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it, because once you demonstrate that real estate really isn't needed for the motor vehicles, you can just easily plop down some protection in that buffer zone. Yeah. The real estate has been preserved.
Here is an old football or soccer stadium. Mm-hmm. One of the two bigger football clubs in Munich.
Oh, okay.
1860 München. It's the not so successful football club. So we have Bayern Munich.
Okay.
And they have a new stadium in the north of the city, and that's the Grünwalder Stadion. Okay. It's a very old-fashioned, but it has a very high tradition amongst the football fans.
Okay.
So just a bit of tourist ride as well for you. And you also get cheap tickets here. So if you want to join a football game, which is not so great, but you get some tickets for 15, 20, 25 euros.
Yeah, see.
When you want to see Bayern Munich, you have to pay at least maybe 50 euros. So it's a lot more expensive.
It's a cheap date, cheap night out,
Maybe not as high quality football, but still you have the surrounding of a football stadium. Yeah, it's always great.
I'm sure they have their moments.
Yeah, they do. But they're playing in the third league, so. So this is like a major road going to the south of Munich to Grünwald. It's called Grünwalder Straße. Mm-hmm. And we are going to visit like the last bicycle project for today. Okay. It's the Zankl Magnos Straße, St. Magnos Street. And this was the first new redesigned project which started last year in August, coming out of the bicycle referendum. So we decided that we start with one not so big road, not in the inner city, because the closer you are in the city center, the more complex and complicated the projects are. Right. And also the bigger the resistance of many interest groups is. And we decided to build up this road or plan this road first, because there were like 2 car lanes in each direction, but very low car traffic. And many cyclists going or taking that road to go into the Perlacher Forst. It's a forest with a great recreational area where also many race cyclists are using for their training. And we had like conflicts with pedestrians and cyclists on the narrow cycle path like it is here. So it's very narrow, and if you are like one cyclist, it's hard to overtake another one. So we have to go very close next to each other if we want to stay there. So it's like 1 meter width maybe. Yeah. And there were conflicts between overpassing cyclists or cyclists just taking the road because it's too narrow for them.
Yeah.
And also the side streets, the visibility was really bad, so it was a safety issue as well. And what was also an advantage at that project, it was quite cheap to build. So we spent like just 2.3 million euros to rebuild the whole stretch. It's like almost 1 kilometer long, with new surface for the cars, the new pavement, and also new pavement for pedestrians and cyclists. And you will see this. So there's a separation with not the cup. How do you say this? The not sidewalk. The curbs.
Yeah, the curbs. Yeah.
There's like a separation with curbs between the cycle path and the parking cars.
Oh, okay, good.
And that looks quite new, and we tried it out, and it's a cheap way because you don't have to change the sewing parts. So for the Entwässerung, that's hard. There's water coming from the rain, it has to go somewhere.
Oh yeah, stormwater runoff and sewer,
the sewers.
Lines. Yeah.
So we didn't have to change them.
Yeah.
They stayed the same.
Yeah.
And that's always when you renew a street, that makes a lot of the high costs. So you can save some money if you can leave it like it was, and you don't have to change it or build new sewers for the flooding water.
Yeah.
So it's much more quiet here, not so much car traffic like in the inner city.
Yeah, no, this is...
And still it's a quite narrow cycle path here. So we have like the 2 car lanes. We have also the tram in the middle. But there is not so much or so many cyclists coming here this way, so that's pretty okay. Could be wider, but it would cost a lot of money. Like to change here, we have the trees. You have to, like with most of our bicycle infrastructure projects, we have to decide if we take a car lane or if we take car parking, or make a mixture of both. But we can't like do it like a magician and create like new space, but we have to redistribute space. And it comes out of the motorized traffic. That was like one of the major goals of the bicycle referendum. If we are building new bicycle infrastructure, we have to take it from the cars. We can't take it from pedestrians. We can't take it from public transport. We can't chop off trees. Or
yeah, that makes sense.
And that's why we also have people not in favor of the bicycle projects and protesters, like we do have in many other cities, when it comes to the change of your habits. So less car parking, less car lanes, and people have to get used to that.
Yeah.
And that's a hard part of being also a cycling coordinator or being a city municipality and dealing with these restraints and the demonstrants or the politicians also, they don't want to have it. So that's also the difficult and challenging for the municipalities and the civil and the city servants.
Yeah.
So we just reached the Zankl Magnos Straße, and that's the new stretch we are just building. Crossing over there and then turning left.
And you can see we've got some new pavers here, relatively new here. This is a much improved and enhanced pedestrian zone too. Much more. You can see how it widened up back there approaching this. Did this geometry change at all, or is this intersection pretty much
Not
the
on
same?
this side. On the other side,
On the other side
it
it's
changed.
Yeah.
We had a separated right turning car lane, and we got rid of that. So it's a so-called freier Rechtsabbieger, so a fast right car lane going right, and this is was always dangerous.
Yeah, we call those slip lanes.
Slip lanes, yeah. So we're turning left here. The slip lanes, we get rid of that in Munich, so that's a new aim of the politicians and the city council to get rid of the slip lanes because they make too much trouble with fast turning cars and pedestrians or cyclists going straight.
Right.
So that's the old part of the stretch and the street with the old cycle infrastructure. And we are about to see how it changed.
Yeah.
Just a few meters more. Especially on the weekends, you have many cyclists here, race cyclists and families with their bicycle trailers with children in it, because it's a important bicycle route to a forest. The south, there are like many beer gardens and restaurants, and so that's a leisure route, but also for the daily commuters. I used to work in the south of Munich, and I used to ride the bicycle every day, like here on this road, and it was like very narrow, and also with the side streets, the visibility is bad, so the car drivers, they see you very late. And now we are just right at the point where the new part of the bicycle lane is already implemented. And it looked like the same here. And now it's all pedestrian. I have a picture, we can just stop here.
and of course we can see it looked like that.
Yeah.
And now it's this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fantastic. What I love too.
I don't need even the picture,
you
because
don't even
you
need
can see
the
it.
picture. This is it right here. Boom. And boom. This is it. And what I love too about the way that you are doing this, the construction materials, again, the details are so important. One of the things that cities can do to keep their costs down is they use materials that are, basically, on a pallet. I filmed some of the pallets of some of this material, the curbing material, built in bulk, same as on the edge here and these pavers here. They're high quality, they're stone, and it's just, they're modular. You're able to do this. You're not spending an extra amount of dollars coming in form-fitting concrete and pouring that, because that's very expensive to do it that way.
Yeah, and it lasts for many years, I hope so.
Oh yeah, decades again.
And we were able to build some new trees here.
Yeah.
Also to have like these new areas with grass.
Yeah.
And you see the high curbs over there, which separate the parked cars from the bike lane, and it makes it much more safer now for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
And there used to be like 2 car lanes, and we changed like the parking lane is now the cycle path.
Yeah.
And one of the car lanes is now the parking area for the cars.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, this is a great example of how we can use car parking to our advantage to create more of a separation in space, because we want to make this really, really comfortable for those women and children and the elderly and people in wheelchairs. Again, this super smooth surface here, this asphalt surface, is going to be much more comfortable for a person in a mobility device, a wheelchair, and other types of mobility devices. So they're also going to be able to use this very wide space as well. Yeah.
And there are more or no more conflicts in between the pedestrians and cyclists. It used to be very narrow here on the side. We have also shops there, a pharmacy, supermarket, and now you have like a lot of space here, and it's so much more quiet, and it's also peaceful now. So they were like always shouting like cyclists going fast and overtaking on the pedestrian, on the sidewalks. And so there were many conflicts, especially at the intersections or the crossing roads. And now we have a calm and quiet street, like just with one car lane, one road. And so it was highly oversized before that, and we changed it, and it wasn't expensive at all. So it was like 2.5 million. The whole project costs were like 2.5 million. And it's a great advantage, I think, for everyone, not just for the people riding through, but also for the residents.
And I love too, we've got, where we do have the intersections, you're daylighting things, so you're not having parked cars right here. Gives us another opportunity for another tree and some more green space. And again, water filtration. When we talk about stormwater runoff, we're now able to take some of that stormwater that's on the pavers there for the pedestrian realm. They're able to help feed this rain garden here. Again, that helps bring the cooling of the temperature, the ambient temperature here
that
down.
will be so important in the upcoming years. Due to climate change. And
and then we've got the opportunity to plant, like I said, another tree here, and then up here where we've daylighted another crossing there. I think that's a crossing.
That's
but
a crossing.
we have another tree there, so I think that's really, really important to
altogether we have around 27 new trees. We planted here.
And again, this is intended that this is unidirectional this way, but it's fine for these little kids to be coming. They probably need to go to one of these apartments anyways, or who knows. But and again, high quality. You can see it's mostly done on the other side. It's not quite opened. It's still got a gate right there, but you can see. This is just magnificent. I mean, what a wonderful, wonderful thing to see. It's great to get smiles.
Hi.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then they're heading up onto the old surface.
The smaller children, they have to go on the sidewalks. So when they turn 8 years, they can decide whether they want to use the bicycle infrastructure or the streets. And when they are 10 years or older, they have to use streets or the bicycle infrastructure. But under 8 years, they have to be on the sidewalks together with their parents, for example. You can use the sidewalks with the children. So it's also, you go slow normally. And it's more convenient and also safer if you can use the sidewalks or the infrastructure.
And I think it brings up another good point too, is that, as we're building out all ages and abilities infrastructure here, we need to be good users of the infrastructure too. And if we're commuting or we're out for a sport and recreation training ride, we need to be aware of our surroundings and slow down for the more vulnerable users. If you have an elderly person in front of you, if you have children in front of you, there's no reason to blast through and try to, complete your speed workout.
Those bicycle trailers you also see everywhere in the city. So that's a very popular way of transporting your children through the city. Either on a cargo bike or on a long tail bicycle, like with 2 seats for children, or the bicycle trailer. It's very popular and very famous.
And all the more reason for these wider bike lanes too, because they're much wider than a normal bike. In fact, even your cargo bike that you're riding today, that's wider than a wider profile. And so again, for cities, this is a good example of planning for the future. Plan to build your bike lanes much, much wider. What is the width of this one in meters?
2.3.
2.3 meters. Again, I would say that's a minimum for the 21st century. We should be building our bike lanes that wide or wider, given the fact that we know that we're going to have wider bikes and cargo bikes using them in the future.
And we also want to make it more attractive for more cyclists.
Yep.
So if we want to have more cyclists, we need wider bicycle paths, bicycle lanes, and to widen the capacity.
Yeah. The running joke on the channel is people, cities will ask me, how wide should our pathways and our cycle lanes be? And I say wider. And they say, no, how wide? And I said, wider than you think you need them. Even wider than that. Well, this is fantastic. What a beautiful
I'm really
job.
happy to show this to you because it's finished.
Yeah.
So this part of it, at least.
Yeah.
And it looks great, and it makes it so much more attractive and comfortable and safe. And also the whole environment and the quality of stay. So we can talk here. This wasn't before. So we are like in the middle of the road. We would stand in the middle of the road and with fast going cars, and it's so much easier now for everyone.
Yeah, and like you said, and we do see a fair number of sports cyclists, getting their afternoon workout into. It's more space for them as well. So it's safer for everybody.
Great.
Yeah, fantastic. So you said this was the final bit of infrastructure for our tour. Now we have something special coming up a little bit later that we'll talk about, but do you want to tease that out a little bit?
Yeah. We are visiting...
After the truck goes by.
Yeah. We are going to visit a new bicycle bridge in the western part of the city in Pasing, which was just opened a couple of weeks ago. I haven't been there yet. So it will be the first time for me to use it and to check it out. And there will be a little party going on from the representatives of the bicycle referendum. They invited us for a little party in the afternoon to open up this bicycle bridge in a living area in the western part of Munich.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go. This crossing is also new for pedestrian and cyclists, so it wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much easier now to cross the street. Here's a supermarket.
Right.
There is some...
Well, this is a good point. I want to pause and talk about this, is that I had mentioned that, we had a little daylighting area right here where there's no cars parked. And one of the reasons why that's so important is that makes it safer for that pedestrian crossing there. And I think that that's a really, really good point that you just made, is that, because you've got this supermarket, your grocery store here, people are coming from these residences over here, and so they want to be able to get across. That's great.
It's also a long way to the next traffic light.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, so they're going to walk across anyways.
Accessible.
And they're going to ride a bike across from here to here. Now we've done that. We've got that new tree in place. We've got a little greenery there. And this is what it used to look like.
It used to look like that, and we're just standing right in the middle here.
Yeah.
And it looks so much different.
Yeah.
That's a year ago.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. Yeah, this is extraordinary. And we still have a little bit of car parking. We're using it to our advantage because it makes it safer in general. But we are able to program it and also add trees and add more green space and make things safer for that crossing too. So again, those little details add up to a big impact. I love it. And when you do those types of things, you're able to have more people riding of all abilities levels, and
you'll make it safer and more attractive.
Yeah, you make it safer and more attractive, and folks can, get their fruits and vegetables, including watermelon. That's great.
Also important.
That's right. Again, we're seeing more kids out riding, and why not?
We're turning left here.
Really safe to do so.
A bicycle trailer.
Fantastic. I mean, this is a great example, cities. You want to figure out how to redefine your strode. It's 4 lanes, it's oversized, there's no reason for that kind of arrogance of space. Let's create a wider pedestrian realm. Let's give opportunities for more greenery. Preserve the trees that you already have if you have them. If you don't have them, plant them. This is great, I love it. And you can see this is just temporary line here. This is new pedestrian realm. And then we'll blend into what it used to look like right here, where it was the older pavers in the pedestrian realm, and then the narrow, narrow bike lane. There we go. And again, you can see some of the construction elements. And again, using the modular materials off the pallets. Right over there, you can see them in stacks. Right over there, you can build this. And then you have a curb separated, parking protected bikeway.
It's so easy.
Bravo.
Thank you. That's our highlight at the moment.
Yeah.
I hope we have many more of those projects in the upcoming years.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. And you can see they had just sanded down beveled off those edges to make sure that there's no sharp and jagged edges. So.
And here's the last special part of that project. This used to be the slip, how do you say that?
Oh yeah, the slip lane, yeah.
The slip lane.
Yeah, the easy right lane, high-speed right lane.
And now we will have just a broad cycle path and just a road and the turning possibility for car drivers to go slow right. And a safe crossing possibility for the cyclists.
Yeah.
We'll go straight.
Fantastic.
That used to be the slip lane.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that was also one of the major reasons we chose this project to build it first, because we had many conflicts here and also accidents with turning cars or fast turning cars, and we won't have this problem anymore.
Yeah.
So we are going back to the river. Crossing by the Tierpark, the zoo, and then go to the beer garden in the middle, next to the Oktoberfest area.
Okay.
So you will have the possibility to take a look at the beer tents, which are just or are building up at the moment. So they started to build up the Oktoberfest already. They always start in July.
Okay.
And the beer garden is right next to it. It's at the Bavaria Park. There's also the Transportation Museum.
Oh, okay.
And that's a very nice place also. And from there we have 20 to 30 minutes to go to the bicycle party at the bridge.
Okay. Fantastic.
Did you take the train to all your cities?
Yes, all of them.
How was it for you? Did it work out?
Oh yeah, it works great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we had so many train problems during the whole football European Championships, but still, I mean,
it's all relative.
It's relative on a high level, complaining on a very high level, because still, I mean, maybe you have delays 1 or 2 hours, but still you will reach your final destination.
Yeah, you have to also put it in the context of just how bad our train systems are in the United States, you know.
Then it's much easier to perform.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have a bicycle network all over the city, but it's at many places it's in all shapes. So this is For not so many cyclists, it's good, but for many cyclists, it's really bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's coming out of the 70s and 60s when we're focusing on the car-orientated city. And this is like the Mittler Ring, the middle car ring.
Yeah.
So we had the inner city ring, and this is the middle city ring. I don't know. And this we had like a referendum in the 90s of the citizens if the city should build more tunnels for this middle car ring.
Yeah.
And it was a very tight decision.
Right.
Just like 51% in favor.
Yeah.
And then the city built for around 1 billion euros. So 1 Milliarde, like 3 tunnels.
Yeah.
And they thought have no more traffic jams at all because we have now tunnels.
Yeah.
And there's no more traffic lights here. There are tunnels everywhere.
Yeah.
And still we have congestion because the numbers of vehicles rise dramatically. So at first, or like 20, 30 years ago, we had like around 100,000 cars a day, and now we have like 140,000 cars. Yeah. And we have new congestions because of the many cars and not because of traffic lights or the intersections. So. So here's another view. We cycled this way.
Yeah.
And now we're going back to the inner city. We do have many of those cargo bikes for logistic and enterprises, bringing like big packages or transporting bigger stuff, and using also the bicycle infrastructure. And that's also a need to redesign bicycle paths, to widen them up, to have more like those vehicles on the bicycle paths. This is also, again, a very typical road design. So pedestrians, cycle path, green track with the trees, car parking, and then 2 or 1 lane for the cars. And it's a lot of work and effort, and it costs a lot of money to transfer this or to redesign the roads. Yeah. If you don't have a circulation plan like the people in Ghent have, like to get rid of all the cars in the inner city. Yeah. And then it will cost you a lot of money to redesign and reshape the whole roads and the whole inner city streets. So that's. But as you can see here, we have now on many roads also a speed limit of 30 kilometers an hour. Right. And that makes it actually more safe, but still, if the design of the street is wide, it invites the car drivers to go fast. Yeah.
I could really see, just like that last project that we saw with the curbs done and having the parking there, I could see that this could be a wide pedestrian realm. Yeah. Put the protected bike lane on the other side of the trees. Similar type of thing. Yeah. especially if you think you could do it without having to change, like we talked about before, any of the underground utilities.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's the key. And since the motor vehicle traffic is supposed to be flowing only at 30 miles or 30 kilometers per hour, there you go. It's a slow, continuous flow.
Yeah.
They don't need 4 lanes.
No, they don't.
2 should be good enough.
Yeah. That's annoying.
Yeah. And actually, I noticed it's narrowed down so that it is only 2 lanes, one in each direction now.
Very wide lanes for the cars.
Yeah.
So there would be a lot of space.
Yeah.
We're turning left here.
Yeah, even riding on some of the older cycling infrastructure, although not ideal, is still, when they're, protected with parked cars and, and trees, it's still pretty darn good.
It gives a good feeling if there are not too many cyclists and too many pedestrians.
Yep.
And if you compare it to other cities or streets where there's no infrastructure at all, it makes it a lot easier for people to go on the bike and to use the bicycle.
Yeah.
We turn right here.
And we've turned into sort of the backbone of what I call your typical European side streets, where we've got low traffic volumes, low traffic speed, and it's a shared environment. 60 to 70% of the Dutch network is something like this as well. Now they tend to do a reinforcement on the paving to really send that message to the drivers, but these are all good opportunities too. And I was walking around this morning seeing lots of even streets just like this behind us here, that are just narrow, they're slow. You do certain things like little pop-up cafe installations that narrow it even more. Helps make it comfortable.
Yeah.
I always like to reinforce that because there's no way that typically a city can do protected and separated infrastructure everywhere.
No.
There's going to have to be.
And it's also too expensive.
Yeah.
Like to build everything new.
Yeah.
If you reduce speed, if you make the roads smaller or not as fast looking, and if you design them smart and not using so much money on reconstruction and rebuilding everything, it can also have a great effect on eco-mobility and on the attractiveness of cycling and walking.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a world famous Theresienwiese. We are at the spot where the Oktoberfest takes place in September and October. And as you can see, the beer tents are growing, and they are building the tents every summer. They are starting in June and July to build up the whole infrastructure for the Oktoberfest. And then we will have many visitors and tourists in September and October celebrating here, drinking a lot of beer and having a big party for 2 weeks. So, and that's how it looks like when there is no Oktoberfest.
Right.
So it's a huge area, and Yeah.
It looks like lots of families are actually using this space for sport and recreation, and also maybe to learn how to ride a bike.
Here's a bike ride
maze or whatever
area where you can like challenge your children and do some bike ride or see some infrastructure, how it's
look at that.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Here you go.
So you have different activities for children, but also for other cyclists who are maybe not so used or trained.
Right.
And they can try it out here easily with no cars and with large fields. And we can try this out. This is fun. The mice race. So just have to follow the.
All right.
My two kids, they used to learn cycling here. And that's like, I mean, it's right in the middle of the city, and there's so much space for everyone, and that's great. There are many people on inline skates and skateboards, and they're playing basketball, doing yoga, ping pong, skateboarding, also cycling around. That's great.
This really brings up a great point too, because many cities have, outdoor expo spaces and places where they have their county fairs and their state fairs. Oftentimes this infrastructure, just sits fallow the whole year and doesn't see a different life to it. Being able to open this up to the community members and let them, come and have some fun on it, it also serves a very practical purpose, like you said. It gives an opportunity to place for a training ground for people for skills.
Yeah,
very.
Absolutely.
I love it when infrastructure can have more than one use.
Yeah,
it's like when a bike lane, is wide enough that people can use it for recreation and utilitarian purposes. When something like this can be
brings up more creativity to the people and the residents. And even during Corona, when we had no Oktoberfest for 2 years, they had a boulder place, like with boulder cobblestone or stones, where they could you could train here outside, and a lot of teenagers, they came out here and were celebrating like on the open space. So during the Corona pandemic, it was great for many people living here to have a free space where they can like walk around, or can cycle, or can just hang out together. So that's great. There's many different purposes, and like we have like a flea market in springtime. Also, this try out place for cyclists. We have like concerts going on. There was a big opening concert with Ed Sheeran when the European Championship started. Because there was the opening game in Munich, so we had a big concert here. And we have like many different parties happening the whole year. So it's not just the Oktoberfest, but there are like circuses and markets and many different purposes.
Okay, cities, this is a challenge to you.
And actually, it's a huge space.
And it's a huge space.
So if you are just here during the Oktoberfest, you think, okay, it's just a normal place, like in the middle of the city where the Oktoberfest is always and the tents are always. But if there is no Oktoberfest, you can see how wide it is and how quiet it is as well.
Now, this space right here, is this for car parking or is this also tents?
There is a part of tents. It's called the old Oktoberfest, the Oude Wiesen, the old Oude Wiesen, with all tents and like for children and families. And there's also a fair taking place every 4 years, the Central Agriculture Fair, but it's just every 4 years. And there is a car parking for buses and also for the people working in the tents and the people of the amusement park, ferry staff, and they have their trailers here and their campers, and they're living then for 2 weeks here at this space where we are standing right now.
Okay, so this is part of like where a lot of those people will have RV, campers.
Yes.
They're camping here.
But I mean, it's part of the Oktoberfest that you drink beer, and it's not so. I can't. Not compare, but if you want to go to the Oktoberfest and drink a beer, you shouldn't come by car.
Right, exactly.
Just
That's
use
the whole
public
point.
transport, walk,
right.
or use the bicycle if you drink just one beer. But the whole point is, you don't use your car when you drink beer.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. That's what I was hoping you would say about this space.
And there's a bus parking, so
and there's
it's
bus
for
parking.
bus rider and bus drivers. So people on the buses.
Okay.
There's a cantina for the staff and the workers building up the tents. They have the cantina here.
Oh, good.
And also the people they can come in and drink cheap beer.
Yeah.
So the residents and the inhabitants, they can use it as well. It's a monument, the Bavaria, patronized Patrona of the Theresienwiese. This area is part of the old fair area, which moved out of the city like 25 years ago, and it's a new residential area now with a beer garden and school, and it's also the place of the Transportation Museum in Munich.
Okay.
So it's a German transportation museum with a lot of trains and old cars and bicycles and planes as well. So that's also a nice place if you want to go on a tourist tour. So this is all the halls that were part of the International Munich Fair, and now it's like shops and it's restaurants and a Congress hall, exhibition hall.
Yeah.
And here's the German Museum, the Transportation Center.
Nice.
It's also very nice for children here to play around or to also train or practice cycling or using the scooters or stuff like that. And the beer garden is on the left-hand side.
Yeah, there it is.
Wir haben ja eine Webseite von Radentscheid. Vielleicht kommt auch noch die Presse, aber die fragt in der Regel nicht. Die macht einfach Fotos. Wir haben ja eine Versammlung. Genau, wer nicht aufs Foto will, muss jetzt schon. Auch im Radentscheid sehr aktiv. Und ich möchte zuerst einmal ein paar Leute genommen haben. Wir freuen uns.
Hello, my name is Sonja Haider and I'm a city councillor of Munich, and my biggest topic in the city council is cycling and cycling infrastructure. We are celebrating this bridge because it was just opened a few weeks ago, and we are very happy because it connects a new area of houses, new buildings with the center of this quarter. So the passing and also the station, which is a huge station in Bavaria, where a lot of commuters are going through. So this is a very important connection.
One of the things I've noticed over the last hour is just the number of kids making their way across, and elderly people too.
Yes.
This is a critical connector.
It definitely is. It definitely is, because you have here the street where you normally would, well, you have a light a signal, so you could cross here, but of course this is much easier. It's you don't have to care about cars, and so therefore, yes, it's not only for the cyclists, it's for everyone living here.
Yeah, all ages and abilities.
All ages, yes, exactly. Also, I've seen people with wheelchairs and so on. Cycling infrastructure is even good for all of those people who struggle to use the normal traffic.
I couldn't have said it better. That's a wrap.
Really?
Good job. Congratulations. This is a wonderful activity asset for the community.
No, it is, definitely is, and I'm very happy that that we have these joyful moments, because you know this discussions we had this morning in the mobility committee. There's a lot of fight about should we use cars or not, and how do we get people from the cars onto on the bicycles and so on. And there's a lot of emotions involved, and here the emotions are happiness and joy, and therefore I'm very grateful to be here.
Fantastic. Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Gudrun. I'm a member of the City Council, and I'm here to celebrate this bridge because it's great. It seems to be like just a little piece, and it is a little piece, but it makes life better for many people. The people who want just to go by, to cross here, and the people who live here, just to go over the street, to let the children just cross the street without without fearing them to be in the traffic.
It's super exciting to see this. I was inspired to see so many families come across the bridge while this celebration is happening. It's got to make you feel really wonderful to see this happen.
It's great. It's like, well, Munich is not that small, and it's like a small project, but it makes life better, and I think we have to realize the small projects to make life better, and especially life without cars and life without too much traffic. Because I want people to move freely. I want children to be independent, to say, okay, Mom, I'm going to my friends, without having to watch them, without having to say, oh no, but you can't cross the streets because it's dangerous. And so this project helps people who live here to have this freedom. And this is what I really like.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
My name is Genevieve Corey, and I work for the Radentscheid München. We're here because we're celebrating the opening of this bridge that is only for pedestrians and for cyclists to be able to cross this large street that cuts through the neighborhood on that side and the neighborhood on that side. And now they're connected again.
It's been really powerful being here today, just seeing the number of families, especially kids and some elderly adults, making their way across this bridge. It's only been open for a couple weeks now, and it's really it's empowering and powerful to see the impact that it's already having.
Yeah, absolutely. And the bridge was absolutely necessary because people started using it during the opening ceremony. I was here at the opening ceremony just a little bit ago, and I was trying to take pictures of just the bridge, and I couldn't because there were constantly people already using it.
In transportation, we talk about induced demand, when we talk about building more lanes for cars, and then it just fills up, and that happens with active mobility too. If we build it, people will come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Talk a little bit about the challenges that the city has in general in trying to build more facilities like this.
Money. Money is our big problem right now. Did somebody already talk about what the Radentscheid is?
No.
So this is the Radentscheid. Radentscheid means bicycle decision, and the Radentscheid movement around Germany has really been going on for the last 10 years. And what it is it's a citizens' initiative, and so when you go out and you collect signatures and you demand a referendum.
Okay.
And in each state of Germany, there's a different threshold for how many signatures you need before you are guaranteed to have a referendum.
Mm-hmm.
And at the city level, which is what this was, a city level citizens initiative,
Right.
you have also specific thresholds, but the city council has the choice to either produce a referendum, which apparently would have cost between 2 and 3 million euros back when this was being done in 2019, 5 years ago this year.
Right.
Or they could have decided just to take on the demands of the Citizens Initiative. And in 2019, July 24th, 2019, the City Council of Munich decided to simply take on the demands of the Citizens Initiative.
Right.
We already saved 2 to 3 million euros right there.
Right.
Is how I would try to portray it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I need to work on that. And it was 2 different initiatives. One was that around the old medieval town center, we should get a bike path that goes all the way around. That's the Altstadt Radlring.
Okay.
So the old city bicycle ring.
Right.
And the other one was with 4 different demands about that we need more bicycle infrastructure and 4 specific ways. Paths need to be wide, they need to be even, they need to have, I've forgotten the English words for it, when you have an intersection and the bike path and the sidewalks also go across at the same height. So
Continuous level. Yeah,
yes,
crossing.
yes, that's what it's
Yes.
called. Höhengleiche Führungen in
Yes.
German.
Yes.
Is what it's called. And all those things. And
Yeah.
that's all in that initiative that we did in 2019. And since then, we've been working together with the city to implement those recommendations. And the city founded a new referat, a new office to tie offices together that had been spread out throughout the city administration.
Right.
Now they're all together in one.
Yeah.
That's the mobility office, and
Yeah.
they do all the things together now.
Fantastic.
That's what the Radentscheid is. It's our 5-year anniversary this year.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And that is a really great example for cities around the globe of where when you have that bottom-up revolution, where you have the community members coming together and really coming from the ground up, and then at the same time with the city and the city council saying, you know, hey, we need to take on some leadership here, and then create the infrastructure and the staff and the administration to be able to implement.
Yeah.
So it's top down and bottom up at the same time, meeting in the middle.
Yep. Well, that
So
would
to
be the
speak.
hope. That's
Yeah.
that's the hope. We're
Yeah.
having real struggles right now, and it's been a struggle the entire time
Sure.
because for us it was clear. We turned in 160,000 signatures.
Sure.
That's a clear expression of what the citizens of Munich want. We
Sure.
want bike infrastructure.
Yeah.
But there have been a lot of people saying, no, we don't believe that people really want bike infrastructure. And you hear all the things like, oh, the businesses are going to suffer if they don't have the parking spots. Parking spots.
Yeah, that's not to paint too rosy of a picture on it, because it is change, and change is always difficult. And so there will always be haters, and there will always be people who get swayed by messages that get spun up. So
Yeah.
In other words, same problems everywhere.
Yeah. And I was just speaking
Yeah.
to Gudrun, and we're just, why can't we just accept the example of Copenhagen, the mayor
Yeah.
of Copenhagen in 1969 getting death threats when he tried to pedestrianize the
Sure.
streets there.
Yeah.
And we haven't had anything that bad here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
everybody loves it there now. And why don't we just all look at it and say, oh, they hated it then, but they love it now. So let's all just do it without going through the hating part.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's not human nature. Jen, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Florian, this was so much fun.
Yeah, for me too.
Hey, thank you so much for showing me around your
very
fine
welcome.
city. We just wrapped up with an amazing celebration here. Why don't you just say a few words about what this particular project means for the city and for the community right
Sure.
here locally?
We just built a new bridge here for all the residents living next here in Pasing. So that's a district of Munich in the western part. And it's a new resident area with new housing and new zones for or living zones. And it's an important connection for all people living here, for the residents to easily cross a really big street. And it wasn't there before, and it saves a lot of time. It's safer. There are great accessibilities for children, for example, or also disabled people. So you can easily go by bike up and down here. There are benches for elderly people or everyone else. So, and it's very wide and easy to access. And it's a small bridge, but it can make a difference. And I mean, it's like in one special part of the city, but for all the people living here and all the ones who are passing by or are working here, it means so much, or such a little bridge can mean so much for everyone here. And it's great to have it and that it's open now. And it was a nice party, a nice crowd, and it was great to have you here, and it was a great bike ride. And thank you very much for joining us and for having you here.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Two things that I want to observe is one, right when you were talking about it was for the residents here, there was a mom going by with a cargo bike, presumably with her kids inside, or maybe picking up her kids, or maybe groceries for that matter. The other thing is that you reference it being a little bridge, but boy, this little bridge is doing a lot of work. And it's incredibly wide. It's almost like a public space. I mean, we just had an entire party here, and like you said, we've got folks with benches that are just kind of people watching. They've been there for over an hour and a half, enjoying watching the people go by. This is not just about mobility. This is really about connectivity and public space.
Absolutely, yeah. It's about public space. It's about accessibility. It's about the quality of the quality of life, and it's just a little bike project, but still it's great for everyone. It's attractive, it's safe, and it makes a difference in the city, a small difference, but it has so much value for everyone here. And I mean, all the people are happy, and that's one piece of encouragement of cycling in the city for us. And it's great that we opened that today, and to see also that many people are using it.
If I were to push back on any one thing, it would be that it's not just a little bike project. It's not really about cycling at all. It's really about quality of life for people. It's really about mobility and also public space, and we really see that being manifested in the fact that it was built as wide as it was, and so it's super comfortable for all ages and abilities and all modes, and you don't have to be going fast. You can go slow here, and you don't have to be a cyclist.
Definitely.
You can just be a person.
It's for everyone.
Getting around. Again,
so
thank you so much for such a wonderful day.
Thanks for having you here.
Yay!
Manchmal träume ich schwer und dann denk ich, es wär Zeit zu bleiben und nun was ganz anderes zu tun. So vergeht Jahr um Jahr und es ist mir längst klar, dass nichts bleibt, dass nichts bleibt, wie es war. Genau.